Hello, hello. I hope you have had, well, an amazing week because it's been about a week since we last spoke. And I'm so glad to be back. I was away last week just having a nice, relaxing vacation week and getting some stuff done behind the scenes and really nurturing my inner hermit. So I feel very refreshed right now. I'm very excited to be back. And as I was doing that, it dawned on me something really important about wealth and manifesting your dream, your specific dream, and that we tend to see in social media, in different marketing ways, this picture of wealth that's put out there that doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody, and it certainly doesn't resonate with me. And it was a very challenging thing for me to redefine what abundance and wealth meant because I had such a negative viewpoint around money and all of those things for so many years. It's why I spent the majority of my 20s living beneath the poverty line and really struggling with money for years and years and years. And it was a big piece of my puzzle to come through and understand that we can redefine what wealth means to us, what abundance means to us, so that we can move towards it in a way that feels really aligned and juicy and all of those things. So I wanted to kind of bring that up because for me, I'm everything in the title. I'm a homebody, guys, I can stay at home for well over a month without leaving and be completely fine and very happy. In fact, that's my preference. I'm not gonna lie. So I really, really feel very nurtured and happy when I'm at home. And I am an introvert. While I do love public speaking, I am energized when I'm either by myself or with very intimate company, not with large groups. And, on top of that, I'm definitely, I am the hermit. No doubt about it. So if you resonate with any of those things, there may be pieces of this that resonate with you and that may give you a new perspective on creating wealth in your own life. So when we look at, social media, when we look at people out there who are promoting, the 6-figure, 7-figure, blah, blah, blah lifestyle, we tend to see a lot of, we see a lot of traveling, the wanderlust. We see people in, fancy resorts. We see them at parties. We see them, with the fancy brand names. And I'm going to go and show my colors of I don't even know most of those brand names. I'm just going to grab a couple out of the air that are big ones like Coach and all that kind of stuff. We see those things front and center. There's nothing wrong with any of these things, but they have to resonate with you. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter in your own journey. For me, and I'm so sorry if this offends anybody, but for me, I look at a Coach bag and I think they're ugly, and I'm so sorry if you like them, but I really just don't like them. And it's nothing against anybody who does. If you like them, great. There's a reason they're super popular, but for me, they don't do anything. And it's the same thing with a lot of brand name clothes. While there's certain places that I would like to travel, I'm not a traveler. I really enjoy being at home. I enjoy my sanctuary. I enjoy my own space. It's one of the reasons that saving and investing in my house and making it my absolute favorite place to be is really important to me, because for me, that's the abundance that's meaningful. So it's really just figuring out what makes sense for you, what resonates with you, what's great for you, and bringing that into your vision. Because for a long time, because wealth was so touted as these big grandiose things that people put out there, whether it was traveling, whether it was, certain brands of clothing, whether it was, any of these things that really didn't mean anything for me. It was very hard for me to get on board with it. But the truth is, money gives you choices. Money gives you options. It doesn't mean that you have to suddenly start eating caviar and, traveling across the world unless you want to. And that's the thing. It's really about choice. So your vision is your vision. So if you're like me, well, maybe the thing for you to focus on is, okay, well, what would make me really happy? And maybe that's, hey, it would be really cool if I could just be at home more of the time. Maybe that's paying to, have groceries ordered in or different things like that would enable you to have more time in your sanctuary. Maybe Maybe you are somebody who really like wants to save up to have a really beautiful home so that you can be home all the time. Maybe, it's treating those really close friends to things that would be really meaningful. Maybe it's donating to charities that really light you up. Like for me, I'm all about the animals and the environment. So like being able to give to those things makes me feel really, really good. But it's defining what's meaningful for you. And don't worry about what everybody else kind of shows you as like the vision of wealth, because it only matters if it's your vision. Everything else is like, who cares? So it's really about you figuring out what's meaningful for you. And if you have that money, what would you want to do with it? Not that you have to go and do these things that other people have done before, but that you get to define your own experience. You get to create that lifestyle that is so aligned with your soul, with your heart. Maybe that's you having more time to, read your favorite books, curled up by the fireplace. Maybe that's you creating your own little spa at home. Maybe you get, a sauna and all of these things and create this beautiful thing within your home. And maybe you do like to travel. Maybe you do like to do these things. You get to make it your own. This is the thing. It's kind of, wealth is like going to an all you can eat buffet where you get to serve up your plate and decide on what you want. All the options are there for you. That's what it's all about. So it's not that you have to get something that's a preset, pre-designated thing. You get to define what it means for you. And that's the difference. And I think it's really important that we talk about these things, because I don't really hear anybody talking about this. And I wish somebody had talked about it when I was trying to figure out wealth for myself and understanding it and learning about, what was meaningful for me that I wanted to incorporate in my life, and not just the things that everybody kind of did when they had money. So these things are really important for you to understand. I mean, maybe again, if you're the homebody, could you imagine, because I know this is the things that light me up, so it would probably light you up if you're also a homebody. Think about it you could have a home spa. You could, have a personal chef. You could have a home theater. You could put skylights in. You could have tons and tons of land so you can get out in nature and not have to see a single fucking person, which is really great if you're an introvert. All of these things that just bring you so much joy internally. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the status quo wealth vision unless it's meaningful for you. So these are the things that are really important for you to recognize, is getting out of that mainstream vision, unless there's certain things in it that you want to pull from, which absolutely, please do if there's something that resonates, but it's really defining it for you. It's really defining what your vision of wealth, of abundance is, so that you're attracting that to you and that you're not having this inner conflict, because that's where we run into problems, right? If your vision of wealth is, people sipping, expensive champagne on yachts, and you're like, I don't like the ocean, you're not going to do it, right? These are the things that are really important to know, because we don't want to have any internal conflict when it comes to creating wealth and abundance in our lives. We want to have smooth sailing. So that means we need clarity on what it is that we're building. What is it that you're moving towards? So getting clear on that. Take some time today. If you're watching this video, take some time today to figure out, hey, if I had millions of dollars, how would I want to live my life? And maybe you would be well, I'd only want to work X amount of hours a day, and I'd only want to do this kind of work, and I'd want to mostly be behind the scenes or in front of the scenes or whatever that is for you. And, I'd want to do this, and I'd want to have this in my house, or I wouldn't want to have a house at all. I'd want to be, a nomad, whatever it is for you. This is your opportunity to define it. Find out, what are the charities you donate to? What are all of those things? Have that vision, have it in clarity, crystal clear clarity. So you're man, that's the life I want to be living. And then every day, take some time to visualize living that life as if you're having it now, because you will start to move towards it. You will start to, whatever we focus on becomes our reality. We start to bridge that gap in space and time and move towards it. And it's very powerful, but we have to maintain the focus, and we have to take daily little action steps to move towards it. It's a process. It's a process of faith and trust and all of these things. But the very first thing, the most important thing for you to do to start off, is know what is it that you're moving towards. If we've got vagaries in our vision, we're not really going to be moving towards anything, right? If you're I want to go on vacation, And it's like, well, where? Until you know where you want to go on vacation, you ain't going on vacation, right? Like if you say, I'm going to Disneyland in Orlando, great. Well, you're going to be able to go on that vacation very quickly. If you just say, I want to go on vacation somewhere, good luck. You're not going anywhere. And this is how it works with everything in the universe. We have to have clarity. You have to know exactly what you want so that you can move towards it. Now, it's okay if you have like a vision of what you want and then you, of course, course correct. That's cool. Like, let's say you're on your way to Florida and suddenly you're like, screw that. I don't actually want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to Orlando instead. Well, cool. You're still en route. You're going to make it, right? So these are the things that are important to know. You can change your mind, but it is about having clarity and conviction and moving towards it. So being really clear about what is meaningful for you, this is the very first thing. So define the things that are meaningful for you and be okay with creating your own vision of that. You don't have to match somebody else's vision. One of the things that's really interesting, like statistically, as we're looking at like the way people have spending habits, we typically see people who are actually in very low financial brackets. They tend to get a lot of the things that make you look wealthy. And, that could be like they're buying coffees out all the time, or they're, buying the latest video game system or TVs or speakers or whatever that is. They're doing a lot of retail shopping for things that devalue. And wealthy people, by contrast, they're buying the things that increase in value over time. And a lot of the times you wouldn't know millionaires and multimillionaires when you met them because they're very down to earth people. The people who have a lot of bravado around, their things. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with some of this stuff, but it's just important to notate this for yourself. A lot of the bravado things, a lot of the showy wealth stuff, it's people who are kind of trying to pose and be seen as, worthy, as good enough, as all of these things. It's a way to get that recognition. And there's nothing wrong. Like, let's say, for example, you want to buy a Rolex and it's just something's meaningful to you because, maybe you love watches and it reminds you of something and it's important to you, or your grandfather had one or whatever. And that's cool. But buying one because we're trying to be like, I am a wealthy person and this will show everybody that I'm wealthy, that's a whole other thing. And it's all of the psychological shit that goes with that. So it's just something to be aware of, that you don't have to be like super outward with it to prove to the rest of the world that you got the money. You don't have to do that. In fact, it's really important to recognize if you are in that cycle of doing that, why are we doing it? Why are we trying to prove to everybody else that we're good enough? Because no matter what anybody else says, the only approval that matters is yours. And until you give yourself approval, you're not going to be happy. So we really got to make sure that we're doing all of this inner work as we're moving through this process. And I know this conversation's kind of gone off on a few different tangents, but it's important because it's all related. It all comes back to this key element of what do you want? What makes you happy? And why? Why does it make you happy? These things are really key because if we're doing things for reasons that don't really bring us joy and aren't really fulfilling, but we're really doing them on the egoic basis, you're never going to be happy. And that is really what we want to avoid. The other thing that's important to think about with wealth when we're changing our mindset around it and shifting, some of the things that have been hardest for me to experience and see in other people's lives is when finances were so tight that somebody was unable to be there for somebody in need. Like, for example, somebody who couldn't take a day off of work because, a family member was dying and they couldn't be there with them when they passed. That sucks. I can't even, that does not encompass how horrible that is, really. And likewise, even if there's something joyous, like not being able to be there to witness the birth of somebody, like that's heart-wrenching when it's entangled in this feeling of being imprisoned by your finances. And it's one of the reasons why I'm very, very outspoken about people creating their own abundance, their own wealth. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to be a multimillionaire, although, hey, there's nothing stopping us all from doing so. But it does mean creating enough financial abundance for yourself that you can live life on your own terms, that you can make the choices and decisions that you want to make that give you freedom in your life to enjoy your life. That's what it really boils down to. So redefining what wealth means for you That's everything. That's where this all starts. So I hope this ignited some new ideas and thoughts in you for you to go in some new ways and directions in your life, and to, examine anything that you're like, yeah, actually, I didn't want wealth because blank. And then recognize that, that's just a belief, and that it's not something we actually have to, drag along with us anymore. We can leave that baggage behind and move forward without it and create it on our own terms. That's beautiful. So thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited that you were here. I'm so excited to be back after my week off. And if you're looking to really delve into understanding how we can create our life purposefully, how we can shift the way that we think about our lives, about our reality, about our place in the universe, and how we can create things purposefully with intention and with joy on your terms, I invite you to come and join me starting next week. We have the Keys to the Universe. This is a 3-week deep dive program into understanding the mechanics of existing and how you are creating your reality through your thoughts, through your emotions, through your focus, how powerful you are. You are an infinite and eternal creator. You are amazing. And we have it all within us to be unlocked, to be able to really live our lives on our terms through our own vision, to create our own reality. So I invite you to come and join me for that. I'll post the link for you as soon as I hop off of here. And I'm excited to see you next week when we get started. So have a wonderful day. Get focused on your vision for your wealth in your life, and watch how everything changes. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.